Hi, horse friends. So we get the comment all the time when we're talking about dressage videos that we don't care about big lick, we don't care about barrel racers.
Specifically on the welfare aspect of it.
Yeah, we don't care about saddle seat riders. Guess what? We do. But all of these topics are so big, in my opinion, with the dressage, with the show jumpers, with the 3-day eventers, but basically everything, that they all deserve their own videos. We're not going to group it into one video. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about people commenting that just because we do one video that...
Well, it's just like if you consider their comments and everything, it's like their focus is on that aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
The big lick is on the aspect of the horses that produce the big lick and the abuse and torture that goes into that. That's their knowledge and that's their baseline, right? Or it goes into the people who focus on the barrels or the reiners or whatever else it might be and what they do. So our experience and our knowledge is predominantly based in dressage.
Right.
That doesn't mean that's all we know, and that doesn't mean that's all we're going to ever cover, but that's where we're starting our focus because that is what we know more of and are in that world. We're not in the world of Tennessee walkers. So we don't know a whole lot of what goes on in the same way that we know what goes on in the dressage world.
Right. So, for example, I just saw a video recently of a saddle seat rider and what appears to me to be a very tight-looking German martingale where the horse's head is cranked down. And I would love to do a knee-jerk reaction and make a video on that right away with my opinion. But I do feel that it is important to our viewers for me to find out ahead of time why this trainer thinks that it is keeping the horse and rider safe. Our videos are designed to try to encompass both sides of everything. So the side of why this happened, how this originated, and then our thoughts based off of scientific actual data, right? And not just knee-jerk. But not just knee-jerk emotional reaction. I see this. I think you're wrong. I blah, 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 blah.
There are plenty of videos and content creators out there that just do that. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they are taking that emotional aspect of it and just running with it. Mm-hmm. Whether it's their own emotions or they know that their viewership are going to have that. That's what they do. That's their content style and their type. Mm-hmm. We are more on the educational, the perspective side of it. Not to say that we agree or not to something or that morally or ethically we would want something like that or anything. But it is one of those that we give the information, we give the education behind it, what we understand, what we know from research and evidence, and then we give whatever we know about the situation so that you guys watching this can make your own informed decision and your own informed opinion about it.
Right.
Again, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily correct or not, but it is our perspective based off of the information available and the evidence available.
Yeah, and so we like to know, like in dressage, we're very adept at, what classical dressage was, when roll cars started, the backlash on roll cur, the conflict behaviors associated with that. And I understand conflict behaviors are similar in horses all over, so I know that. I mean, they're all the same species. But there's a reason we chose the name of this channel to be the Scholarly Equestrian. We didn't call it the Emotional Equestrian, okay? We want factual, science-based data behind our opinions. And I'm not saying that we're discrediting our people that are commenting about, you don't care about big lick. And I am so grateful that you guys are really passionate about the animals. But it's also important for me and Becca to let you guys know that it's not that we don't care about those things. we do plan on presenting it to you when we have the full picture.
Right. And the other thing to consider is, as a lot of you know that are more on those other ones, but even on the ones that we're focusing right now within dressage and everything, there's a plethora of stuff that is just going on, good and bad and otherwise, right? So it may not be for a little while that we don't go on to a topic, or it might be something where something huge comes up and we present it more in a news type fashion, more of just a headline kind of sort of thing where we don't really necessarily share the opinion, but like, hey, this thing happened. And it could be any discipline, right? But again, our knowledge and our experience that we are predominantly in right now, that we know more of and recognize more of, is within that dressage. And so we can see it a little bit easier. We can pull it up quicker. Like in the other videos, we've talked about our experience and everything else. Kristen, more so even, has that experience of other disciplines, but it's been a little bit of time and things change over time.
Right.
You know, we can talk about how much dressage has changed, even within the few years that I have been more focused on dressage.
Right. And so, you know, she was getting back to the news thing. So, for example, we just recently did a video on horses dying on the trail ride on the way to the Houston Rodeo. So one of the reasons that I felt comfortable doing a news article on that is this was based off of something that I consider myself to be an expert in, which is horse care. These were horse care issues. It was mismanagement of leading a horse in a trailer. It was a colic issue. It was maybe a lack of endurance issue. These things were not necessarily discipline based. And like I said, I don't want you guys to think that when we do talk about other disciplines that we aren't coming at it from a perspective of being an expert on it. Just know that we are doing a ton of research to prepare ourselves.
And we're not in the business of bashing different disciplines. No. There's good and bad in every discipline.
Yes.
Right? There's good and bad in every training style and what you do and how it does. And a lot of this is a user.
Right.
Or not. But, and one of the things too, and I circle back on specifically for the big lick, when we do get into that, one of the things I want to do is have our farrier here to talk about like the changes in the hoof and within the bones of the foot, because that is a huge thing that comes into it. Right. Like when they go into that type of, work and movement with the big lick.
Yeah, and I will tell you, be leery of any creators out there that pretend to be an expert in everything, because nobody is an expert in everything. And you have to do things like Becca just mentioned, where you have to consult experts. And we do plan on bringing some experts onto the channel. You've seen, we've done some farrier videos. I've got some coming up on squamous cell carcinoma with the veterinarian. And just be leery of that. Somebody that comes out with videos all the time on every topic and they aren't getting expert opinion, expert advice, you might think twice. Because I mean, I've been in this industry a long time. You have too, and I don't know everything. And at the end of the day, when I go to bed at night and I put my head down on my pillow, I've got to know that I've done things morally correct, and that I
align with your values and
right. Yeah, and that to the best of my ability for you guys as our viewers who are entrusting us with our opinion. That's important to us to not make mistakes.
And one of the things too, I just want to say is like within other creators that have a lot of stuff, and a lot of time, I can say a lot of times, but I would assume that in those creators and everything else, that researching a topic and understanding whatever you might be talking about is one thing, right? So while somebody can do a lot of research and everything else, like what she was saying is like that little bit of research, that little bit, it does not compensate for the years of experience somebody else might have. So it's not that expertise, but it's not to say that they can't present good information.
No.
And the other thing too is sometimes you'll notice, and what we want to kind of steer clear from within the vein of our morals and our values of education on this channel is we don't necessarily want that drama effect and pulling people in. Right. Yes. The drama, the heightened emotions and everything else that draws people in, that gets the viewership, that gets the numbers up. And that can be helpful, particularly for those who really do make content creation a career. They need that. It's totally fine. But there is a reason that that people will have more drawing in titles, more dramatic thumbnails or something with a very big, like, oh my God, look at this thing, versus something that's a little bit more subdued. Again, everyone has their own style as well too, but within this, it is kind of a numbers game in content creation. Yeah. So keep that in mind when you're watching some of these videos, that sometimes when somebody is a little bit more emotional or a little bit more heightened and leveling things up and using some emotional type language and everything else, there's a reason for that. Beyond just being like, hey, this is a problem. It's going, hey, this is a problem, and then leveling it up a little bit.
Where they almost make it like a personal attack too, which can create the drama. And sometimes that there is
a personal attack, but it's also just drawing in that crowd, right? If you're out and about going somewhere, something that catches your attention, you're like, right? So it's attention catching for a reason, for multiple reasons, I would say, not just the numbers and getting the viewership. That is part of it, yes, when they're doing that. So it's just take it with a grain of salt and kind of read between the lines a little bit on how they're presenting the information. And
I have to say too, I was actually just telling somebody this in the barn the other day, that I really appreciate our viewers. I feel as though you guys as a crowd are incredibly intelligent. I read a lot of your comments and I am blown away and grateful for the in-depth comments, the expertise that you guys have. And I think that we are generally really getting the crowd that we were hoping for in you guys. And and what I also love too is I've noticed that in our comments, people are kind to one another when they disagree. You guys are very educated in talking back and forth. And disagreeing, but being kind about disagreeing. I don't even think I've ever had to delete a comment. I don't think so. Because all of you guys have been super respectful. So I'm really grateful for that. And that says a lot about you. Yeah. And it helps us wanted to continue to make these educational videos where people can have very highly intelligent conversations underneath. And you guys are adding to the culture of our channel by doing that.
Information and the sharing of education. Sharing of what you know. Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah. I mean, we have FEI level judges on here. We have had people that are breeding for 30 years in Germany. I mean, you guys have this unbelievable scope that helps make the culture of this channel this way. And so thank you. So that's kind of our answer about why we're not doing Big Lick and that stuff right now.
And other topics we will get to it, but
we care. Okay.
We will get to it, but it's one of those things that we want the information and we want the emotions there, but not the focus.
Exactly. We want to be factual. So thank you.